You don't actually want to be interesting. You're afraid of being ordinary. There's a difference. Being interesting feels powerful. It feels memorable and valuable. It feels like you take up space in a way that cannot be ignored. Being ordinary feels invisible. It feels replaceable and forgettable. It feels like you could disappear from a room and no one would notice the shift. And somewhere along the way you decided that invisibility was dangerous, not uncomfortable, dangerous. So you made a quiet decision. You would not be forgettable. You didn't wake up one day and decide to perform. It happened gradually. You refined your opinions so they sounded sharper. You adjusted your humor so it landed better. You emphasized certain interests because they made you seem deeper or more unique. You told stories in ways that highlighted your insight rather than your confusion. You filtered out the mundane details of your life and spotlighted the unusual ones. You didn't lie about who you were. You simply optimized how you appeared. Because in a world where attention equals value, being interesting doesn't feel like vanity. It feels like survival. And survival strategies are rarely dramatic. They are subtle and repetitive. They become habits. We live in an environment where attention is currency. The strongest take wins the algorithm. The boldest personality dominates the room. The most emotionally intense story gets remembered. Social media trains you to compress yourself into highlight moments. Dating culture pressures you to differentiate instantly. Work culture rewards those who stand out loudly and confidently. So you learned to signal something. You learned to signal intelligence, emotional depth, mystery, self-awareness, uniqueness. You learned to craft your personality into something that holds attention. Not because you're fake, but because you don't want to fade into the background. Invisibility feels like losing social leverage. It feels like being overlooked. And being overlooked can feel like being unloved. But here's what starts happening when being interesting becomes a strategy. You stop relaxing. You begin monitoring yourself in real time. While you're speaking, a part of you is observing how you sound. While you're listening, a part of you is calculating what response will land best. After conversations, you replay moments in your head. You edit things you said. You wonder whether you came off insightful enough, confident enough, original enough. That is not self-expression. That is perception management. And perception management is exhausting because it never turns off. You are never just present. You are presenting. Even your silence can start to feel strategic, as if it must communicate depth rather than uncertainty. Underneath this performance is usually a belief you rarely say out loud. If I am just normal, I will not matter. That belief does not form randomly. Maybe you grew up in environments where attention was scarce. Maybe achievement was the only reliable way to be noticed. Maybe louder personalities overshadowed you and you learned that quiet meant invisible. Maybe love felt conditional. Maybe praise only came when you impressed someone. So you internalized a rule: to be seen, you must be exceptional. And over time, exceptional quietly became interesting. You didn't decide to reject ordinariness. You learned to fear it. Because ordinary people don't get spotlighted. Ordinary people don't get remembered. At least that's the story you absorbed. Here's the paradox. The more you try to be interesting, the more disconnected you feel. Because instead of expressing your raw thoughts, you're curating your most impressive ones. Instead of admitting confusion, you reshape it into insight. Instead of simply enjoying something, You frame it in a way that signals taste. You are not lying, but you are polishing constantly. And polishing creates distance. Distance from spontaneity. Distance from simplicity. Distance from the parts of you that are not remarkable, but are real. You may even begin to feel pressure to maintain an identity. If you are known as the deep one, you must always be deep. If you are known as the mysterious one, you must always be composed. If you are known as the intelligent one, you must never appear unsure. So you carry the weight of your own image. That weight builds slowly, but it builds. The exhaustion you feel in social settings might not be from interacting. It might be from performing. It is draining to constantly think, how am I being perceived right now? It is draining to treat every conversation like a subtle audition. It is draining to feel like your value depends on being compelling. Because value that depends on performance is fragile. And fragile value makes you anxious. You cannot rest in it. You must maintain it. Now here's something uncomfortable. When you stop trying to be interesting, some people may actually lose interest. They were responding to the performance. They were drawn to the curated intensity. But the people who stay when you relax are responding to something deeper. Presence. Presence is quieter than performance. It does not rush to fill silence. It does not inflate stories. It does not exaggerate identity. Presence allows you to say something simple without dressing it up. And strangely, presence is often more compelling than performance because it feels unforced. There is something powerful about someone who does not need to prove they matter. What if ordinary is not the insult you think it is? What if ordinary simply means human? Human means sometimes unsure, sometimes quiet, sometimes repetitive, sometimes simple. Not every thought needs to be profound. Not every story needs to be impressive. Not every room requires you to stand out. You are allowed to take up space without dazzling anyone. You are allowed to speak without optimizing. You are allowed to exist without branding yourself. Ordinary does not mean insignificant. It means unguarded. And unguarded is where real connection begins. You are not obsessed with being interesting. You are afraid of being invisible. And invisibility once felt unsafe. But you are not in that same environment anymore. You do not need to earn your right to exist in every room. You do not need to justify your presence with depth, humor, or uniqueness. You are allowed to be human-sized, not exceptional-sized. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is stop upgrading yourself in real time. Sometimes the most interesting thing you can do is stop trying to be. If this resonated with you, I want you to notice something specific. When do you feel the strongest urge to seem interesting? Is it at work, on dates, in group settings, or online? Be honest about the pattern. Awareness weakens it. Let me know in the comments. And if you value psychological deep dives like this, subscribe. This channel is about understanding the invisible survival strategies shaping your identity. I'll see you in the next one.